Hi, Sean.
I talked to you yesterday.
Good. You are fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes. A great host. Show is great. Listen to his show.
Absolutely, 95.5.
One mic. All I need is one mic. That's all I need.
Hey, everybody. Just rolling in a little late. Actually, I was here all afternoon, but getting settled in. Welcome to the Shelley Winter Show. We are live, local, topical, and relevant. You know, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I do want to start with something good and wholesome and wonderful. This weekend is King Weekend. There's a lot going on. There's a awesome, the Beloved Community Dinner is this Saturday. The Beloved Community Awards Dinner is this Saturday. That's going on. A bunch of really, really good people coming into town for that dinner. And if you're blessed to get tickets for it, I suggest that you do. They do have tickets still available, and you should get those tickets. But Hosea Helps, Delta Airlines and Hosea Helps, they present the Martin Luther King Day celebration with community partners, United Healthcare and Grady, getting together. They're going to have health screenings, free mammograms, HIV screenings, cholesterol screenings, blood pressure screenings, glucose screenings. This is open for everybody. And it's going to be held at Hosea Helps right there on Forest Hills Drive, downtown Atlanta. I'll be down there volunteering, doing whatever I can do to help. I was making fun of myself because, Magic Mike, I'll take selfies and make myself look good by, hey, look at me volunteering. You know what I mean? It's like, I always laugh because it's like, oh yeah, this is great to do on Monday. And what are you going to do on Tuesday to help people, But I'm poking fun at myself, not at anybody else. Because Hosea Helps, as you know, does this all the time, 24/7, 365. But I bring this all up. Oh, by the way, Brookhaven, Johns Creek, these cities within the metropolitan area are all doing Martin Luther King Day or weekend events. Brookhaven's got an event on, I believe, Monday. Johns Creek has an event. All of these cities around Metro Atlanta, diverse cities, Republicans and Democrats, people coming together around Martin Luther King weekend, and I it's just wonderful, right? It really is to do and to acknowledge, and it's a weekend on, not off, as they say. If you're off on Monday, if you're going to be off on Monday, we'll all be here at work. As the only African American at the station, I thought I'd get the day off, but like Juneteenth, I don't get any holidays. I get none of the black holiday. So I'll be here at work, but when you're off on Monday, do something for somebody else. Look to do something for someone else in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King. I bring all of that up to say there is a young man who's got a documentary out. I bought it. The second season is coming out. I bought the first season. His name is Chad Jackson. And quite honestly, I have been trying to get Mr. Jackson on the show for a couple months now. To be honest with you, I've not been successful. I've been trying to get him on the show, but he's got this documentary. It's eight parts, a series of 8 parts. And I'm trying to pull up the name of it, the exact name, but it's Chad Jackson. Let me get this name here. I apologize, I'm a little discombobulated. Series, let me see here. Chad Jackson. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. The MLK Project. That's what it's called, the MLK Project. And it's a very interesting piece of work, right? It's 8 series, as I said, and it goes into the background of the civil rights movement. And part of it talks about the communist influence on the movement, right? And it kind of it insinuates that Martin Luther King was a communist. He doesn't come out in saying it, but there's a lot of interesting things in these 8 parts. So it's very interesting. But one of the things I wanted to start the show off with, because I think it's dangerous. And if he was here, if he ever comes on a show, I'd say the same thing to him. But I think it's dangerous when we look back on history from the lens of where we are now, right? And that's with anything. When we go back into history and we say, oh, I'm looking at it from the 21st century viewpoint, and I go back and I say, oh, these people were wrong, right? And part of the premise of his documentary, he talks about in the first couple episodes, is that the trajectory of economic and social climbing and growth of the African American community after the civil rights movement severely declines, right? And he blames that on the movement itself. Now, there's many things I've talked about. Integration was the worst thing we ever participated in, and many people saw that as a big mistake. Not that the government said you had to do certain things, but the mistake was in us leaving black businesses and black communities to go all the places and spread our dollars around, our limited dollars around, and it reduced the power of the African American economic base, right? And that's something you can argue. One of the things that troubles me about this series, as we start the show tonight, is that if you were an African American and you lived in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, any ideology, communism, atheism, whatever it is, Islam, whatever it is, any ideology, any religion, anything that got you away from the people that were literally killing you in the streets became something viable. Now, you can look at it and say, well, Shelley, communism was evil. Well, if you're African American in this country in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, capitalism was evil. Democracy was evil. The West was evil. Like, if you lived in this country in those times, communism was something very much appealing to you. Why? Not because it was good or bad, and we know it's not good, but not because of that, because where you lived was horrid. So it's easy for somebody living in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s who was black to say, wow, I can live where people treat me with respect and equality and honesty and justice. I get justice. As opposed to living here where I've got to sit in the upper level of the movie theater and pay the same price. I've got to sit in the back of the bus and pay the same price. I've got to walk on the side of the road. I've got to get out of the way when someone white's walking down the street. Oh, I can't go into Woolworth to buy lunch at the lunch counter because of the color of my skin. But in another communist country, it appears to be that I can sit where I want to sit. I can go where I want to go. I can ride with everybody else on the same public transportation. It would seem to me, if I lived during those times, that would be appealing to me. And the danger is looking back and saying, oh, look at these people. They were communists. No, they were just saying, you got my foot on my neck. You've got your entire body on my body. You could kill me with impunity. You can move me with impunity. You can firebomb my house with impunity. You can sweep me up off the street with impunity. The cops can beat me with impunity. Over there, that doesn't happen. Or it looks like it doesn't happen. So it's easy, if you were African American in those decades, to have said, hey, communism looks good to me. What's wrong with it? Now, you can look in the 21st century and say, well, Pol Pot and Mao and all these people murdered millions of people. Okay, well, that's fair. And that's true. But if you're black living in this country, anything that wasn't Christian, democracy, the West, dare I say white, was better than where you lived. It really was. And it's easy to say they were wrong, but it's also, you should also be able to understand where they were coming from at that time. If you wanted to fight for equal rights in this country, and there was a guy down the street who was a admitted socialist and an admitted communist, and he says, well, I've got $1 million to fund your efforts to be treated equally under the law, you would take it. You would dag sure take it in a heartbeat. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Get out there this weekend. Celebrate King Weekend, my friends. Please, please, please do something for someone else. Shelley Winter Show. We will be right back. 448-720-0750. 1-800-WSB Talk.